You are live on Joy 99.7 FM. This is Ghana Connect, and we are talking about one thing that has many talking in the last 24, 48 hours when the sanctions kicked in. Sanctions imposed by the NCA and implemented by the telcos, which meant many of you have had your SIMs blocked. You cannot make calls. You can receive calls, but this is progressive. So if you don't register now fully, it may get to a point where that SIM will be absolutely useless. Then the problem is that many are also reporting that they, although have fully registered, re-registered their SIMs, they have still been blocked, which of course is causing a bit of consternation. Tonight, as you heard on Top Story, a suit has been filed by A Plus and his colleagues at the Supreme Court, and Imani Africa has also collected 1,200 signatures for a class action suit, which is coming up pretty shortly. We're going to be connecting with many of you who have a lot to say about what is happening. By the way, related to this, I have a public announcement for you. From the MTN. MTN wishes to apologize for challenges on voice services experienced earlier today by a cross-section of our customers. This has been resolved. Thank you for your patience and understanding. And that's from the MTN. Of course, my connectors are joining me right now. Kwame A. Plus, Abena Chai is a student of the Ghana Law School. Kilsing is a former student as well, and Andy Dusty, my colleague here, is the host of the morning show on Hits FM. Andy Dusty. Andy.
Hello, Evans. Hi, Evans.
Great to talk to you, Andy. What happened to you? I mean, I know your phone is almost it's your life. I understand that your line has been blocked.
Yes. It went off yesterday. On Thursdays, I have a very busy schedule because of my Friday morning program on HFM dubbed The Library. So what I usually do is that I contact musicians and then they send me voice notes regarding the catalog or discography of producers. Yesterday, I had a tough time. I couldn't make any call. Fortunately for me, I was receiving calls. I called a friend via WhatsApp and asked her, she works with MTN, asked her, what is happening? And she said, we've decided to block the NCA's what. I said, I've registered my SIM already. She said, try star 400 hash or star 404 hash. I tried it. Then it said, thank you for linking your Ghana card. She said, in this case, you've not done your biometric something. I said, I've done it already. So then you're supposed to have a BCAP yes notification. If you've not had it, then it means it must be redone. And I asked myself, why should I go through this trouble again? I stood in a long queue. I swallowed my pride. And I was in this long queue.
I can imagine.
Yes. Why should I go through this again? Okay. So this morning, right after my show, I went to the MTN office at Usu. Fortunately, I met agent. In fact, when I got there, they wouldn't even let me in. And I was asking the security. This is supposed to be a public office, customer office. I'm a subscriber of the network. Why wouldn't you let me in? I made a few calls. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And I was allowed to get to the VIP session. It took me 2 hours.
Wow.
I hadn't eaten since morning. As I speak, I'm now enjoying my kokunte since morning.
I know the way you enjoy that.
I'm serious.
I know. Forgive me.
Thank you. So they've now done the biometric capture, and I've been promised that tomorrow I'll have the opportunity to use my phone again.
Oh, so you mean for 48 hours you can make calls?
No. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. So now, if I want to make a call, I'm supposed to have an appointment with my doctor. I had to call and call and call and couldn't reach him. So he called me later on to ask me, what's happening? I said, I've been calling you via WhatsApp. I said, no, why do you call me via WhatsApp? Charlie. And you know, in Ghana, sometimes when you call with the okay, there are some things I can say, but when you call with WhatsApp, it's like your dean's not too serious. Is either Charlie, you don't have enough, or you are not well to
I mean,
do.
you broke.
You're broke. You're broke.
Yeah.
So yeah, almost everyone I'm calling is not picking up. So imagine it's been 48 hours. My producers had to come up with strategies to get it done today. Otherwise, it would have been a fiasco.
Um, Andy, stay with me. Your friend and colleague A Plus is on, and A Plus, you've taken action.
Disappointed rapper.
Exactly, he is. But you know what he's done tonight? He on your behalf, he's gone to the Supreme Court. A Plus, listen to the man who is calling you a disappointed rapper when you are fighting on this.
He's my very good friend and brother.
When you're fighting on his behalf.
And I like what he's done. He's been so bold. No one has done it to challenge the law. Congratulations to you, Kwame.
Thank you. Evans, you know, you've heard some of his songs, right?
I want to stay out of this one. This one. Let me allow the two of you to go at it on this one.
Kwame, discuss the court issue, I beg.
It's my uncle, so I won't say much.
Thank you.
Baba Kwame, what do you say to Andy with what he just described?
It's quite unfortunate. Myself, I have my own issues. You know, I have the Ghana card, but when I tried registering with the *404 hash, then I received a message that my Ghana card cannot be validated, and so I was told I have to go and validate my Ghana card at the nearest NIA office. And that has been hell. So I understand what he's going through. Look, you get to the place and there are so many people. And if Andy Dusty comes to validate his card or comes to register his SIM, and he tries to go in front ahead of everybody who is there already, then it looks like Andy thinks that he's whatever. So when you get there, sometimes I get there and I have to pack. I don't know how to, because you can't go and act as if you are important than the people, or you have important things to do. Everybody has equally important. So it is a serious issue.
The suit that you've taken up today at the Supreme Court, what will it do for Andy Dusty and co who are suffering this?
It will prevent if everything goes as expected, it will prevent the NCA from blocking Andy's SIM. It will stop them from blocking SIM cards like every other person, not Andy only, but everybody.
Talking about everybody, Kilsing is also connecting. Kilsing, this also affected you. I understand that your SIM was blocked. Is that true?
Yes, my SIM has been blocked because of what I would call a flippant disruption of telecommunication by the National Communications Authority. I misplaced my Ghana card, I think 3 months ago. Immediately, I realized that my Ghana card was misplaced. I quickly went to the NCA headquarters located around Shiafi to replace or undertake processes to replace a card, and I was redirected to Elk. In fact, when I went there, I saw a huge crowd, queuing to also obtain cards. People had different reasons why they were there. Some were there to correct the details on the card. Some were there to undertake the purpose for which I went, the i.e. SIM replacement, no card replacement, sorry. And some were there to also register anew. But it's so disappointing that from the time I went there, that was 3 months ago till now, I have still not gotten my Ghana card. I have been there on countless occasions to, check out whether the cards are available or whatever. I go there and the obvious response is that the cards are not ready. And it's quite unfortunate also that the officers there cannot also exactly tell when the card will be available. And so you can imagine the amount of productivity that would have been lost with the constant visitation to the place to inquire on the readiness of my card. And in the case of others too, spend hefty amounts of money on transportation only to get there and be disrespectfully told that the card you came to queue. In fact, I spent about 6 to 8 hours to undergo the entire process of replacing the card and be told that the card is not ready. I mean, who would be making such regular visitations or
So
regular,
in your
what do you
case,
call it?
it's because you've pursued the Ghana card, which is the base document for re-registering your SIM, and you still don't have the Ghana card.
Exactly. And it's been about 3 months. And I've made regular and constant visitations to the place to ensure that at least all the inquiries have been done, all the process have been done, and the cards are ready. But I can confidently tell you that I've exhausted every mechanism I can. And till date, I still do not have my Ghana
I
card.
mean,
And so,
this is go
and
on.
so, and so the question I want to ask is, how is it my fault that because of the incompetence of the NCA, I have to bear the wrath of SIM blockade? That is the paramount
Yeah, I
question I
mean,
want to ask. And I'm saying
honestly,
this because
that question is such a fundamental question. I also pulled that to the NCA's director of legal, who joined us earlier. That the people like yourself, they're being unfair to you, and he says, well, it's is the fault of the NIA, etc., etc. But really, it's one of those very challenging things. So as we speak, you also can't make calls.
yes, I can make calls. And Evans, one other issue I want us to talk about is the fact that the NCA or the Ministry of Communications were touting the new software or application that they had provided. And unfortunately to speak, the functionality of the whole app is under question. And it has a lot of complaints and frailties, such that it has a limitation to only Android users. So how much more advantageous is it to the iPhone user or somebody who uses an iOS? It means that such categories of people would have to risk the day's productivity by going to join long and torturous queues in order to register their cards. And even for those who have Android phones, when you go there and then you check through the reviews, you can tell for yourself the myriad of complaints that people are putting out there. And so for me, I think that the fundamental principle of public policy is service. And so if the state or if these agencies that are designated to ensure such things are done are not prioritizing the interests of citizens and what citizens have to go through, the stress, the hell, in order to accomplish a certain task, then
Yeah,
there is a problem.
I mean, Kilsing, stay with
I
me.
feel
Let
that
me bring in.
everything.
Go on.
No, wait. I sincerely feel that we are here because of the whims and caprices of an arrogant individual who thinks that Ghana is like a Montessori, and so he can just tell, the kids to sleep, sit down, get up, sing, draw, watch TV, and do that. I think that is the kind of unfair treatment that is being meted out to ordinary citizens. And for me, if the citizens of Ghana were to be actual citizens of another country who were being substituted, I doubt officialdom would have treated them this way. And I find so much of offense because, unfortunately for our country, we do not have correct or technical indicators to measure productivity. Either than that, you would have known the amount of productive energies and efforts that have been lost over the past 3
Yeah, I
years.
mean, and Andy Dossi talks about his own. He missed his appointment with the doctor just because of this. Can you imagine how critical that is? And what that could mean to somebody who relies almost entirely on his phone to make ends meet. Abena Chan joins us, and she's a student at the Ghana Law School. I mean, Abena. So the argument from the NCA tonight is that all this talk and complaint and the signing of a petition for a class action, we should channel rather that into encouraging people to go and re-register their SIMs. And then if you consider the fact that the government, the NCA, has extended the deadline for so long, it's fair that the sanctions are now being rolled out in incremental phases. What do you say to that?
All right, thank you. I think so. Just a little background. Our Supreme Courts, from my little knowledge and experience, have not upheld public policy as a tool for interpreting laws. So if the law states ABC must be done, previous cases have shown that even when there are certain public policy consideration, considering the uncertainty that comes with it, how difficult to measure it is, usually it's not upheld. But I think that this current situation is very peculiar, noticing that there is little to no collaboration between the government agencies which are charged with, ensuring the registration of these SIM cards, in the sense that the NIA has its own processes, the NCA has its own processes, and looking at the type of communications you have out there from officials within these agencies, there is little to no collaboration on that. So even though that is clearly stated, in the LI, that the Ghana card must be the only, or shall be the only card for registration, there is questions about what about the unavailability of these cards. That's one thing for me. But I think secondly, there is also a real problem about people having the cards but refusing to register. But looking at the situation at hand, in terms of one, the structures are, currently inefficient. They are unable to be at pace with the production and registration of individuals. You're also looking, in terms of the Ghana card, you're also looking at, the telcos. I want to believe is a technical issue in terms of, cutting out even individuals who have registered. So I think that all these issues are ones that are left unresolved. So in that bid, and also looking at the lack of cooperativeness between these two government agencies, I think that it's now very difficult to, uphold the whole idea that let's just stick with the law, let's just sanction individuals. I think at this point it's arbitrary. That's my opinion.
I mean, A plus. I mean, you've taken action on this. I wonder. There's another action that is pending with a class action that is coming from Imani. But at which point did you decide that you need to do something about this? Because this has been going on for so long. They've extended and extended and extended. Don't you think the state has been fair at least?
I think that the state has not been fair. That the state has not been fair with the people. In fact, the last press briefing that the communications minister had, she stated clearly that the measures will roll out on the 30th of September, if I'm right.
Yes, 30th of September.
So and today is what? Like the 9th?
Yes.
So what's the issue? So apart from that, in every election year, the state is able to give every eligible voter a voter's ID card. But when it comes to giving people Ghana cards, then it becomes a problem. In fact, then NIA itself, per its data, has shown that out of the number of people who have registered, about 1.5 million people have not been issued with the cards. And the LI is very clear that you have to register your SIM with an ID issued, which means that you have to be given the card. There are 1.5 million people who have not been issued with the cards. So the state going back to block those same people that have gone through the process, have registered, but have not been issued with the cards, it's not being fair. So if you say the state has been fair, I don't get it. Why are we in a rush? I support this registration exercise. I think it's a very good policy. Everybody in civilized countries, in advanced countries, we know how many cats and dogs are within a particular area, and then and look at the kind of the crimes that are perpetrated online and on with mobile money and all. It is very important that we support this process. However, we cannot allow the people to suffer the incompetencies of another state institution. And so, if you ask me, the state has not been fair.
This whole conversation is one that, well, I haven't had my number blocked, but if I did, I was making a point about how the phone has become our lives now. Can you imagine, if no fault of yours, you have registered fully and your line has been blocked? So A plus, when is your case scheduled to be heard?
I think we will have that information on Monday. But I would like to say this briefly. You see, there are other people who have gone for the Ghana cards, but then validation becomes an issue. So there is a huge problem with with NIA itself. The minister at her briefing stated that the NIA has engaged additional staff and received so and so and so. So the minister is admitting that there is a problem, and so they have now engaged staff. At the same time, go to LWAC now. You find people there. You find a lot of people there trying to replace their cards, like my brother said. And so this whole process, I don't know why. What's the rush? If you can give every Ghanaian a voter's ID card in every corner of this country, and that process and that exercise is done very well to ensure that every eligible voter has a voter's ID card. Why can't you give people same with all the funds that have gone into this exercise? And so you cannot take the people for granted. In this country, people behave as though they are the law. That's why we have gone to court. The law is not in the constitution. The law is with the judge. We are going to court to tell the judge that this is the situation. In fact, we have not even taken into consideration the revenue that the state is going to lose. If you have 2 million people who can't make calls, you know how much we are losing in talk tax and e-levy and all. And so we are going to tell the court that this is the situation.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Dusty, if you're still on, I wonder, in your case, when were you assured it to be resolved so you get your SIM reactivated?
They mentioned that it will be active tomorrow, and so I'm just waiting. It's very unfortunate that all businesses have been halted. I'm due to perform up on the mountains tomorrow. It looks like I've lost it already, but I've sent messages. Even if you send messages via SMS, they don't go through.
See,
so yes,
I thought it was just your inability to call, but you've noticed that your text messages function has been blocked.
You can't even send text messages. I can't even send text messages. So I'm reaching out to someone who's not on. I don't know whether he's also blocked. The client that reached out to me for this business, I'm reaching out to him via WhatsApp, and it's also not going through. I'm trying so hard to get in touch with anyone who may be closer to him, and it's also not going through. So imagine. So I'm just waiting that my number will be active tomorrow before the start of the event where I can go and perform. Otherwise, I've lost some good money.
Andy, well, I don't know what to say to you, but you have to wait, and that's the thing, right? You just don't know even if tomorrow it will be done automatically once. It's just so confusing. Yes, Andy.
Tomorrow is a weekend. So
yes.
You can't tell whether you have to wait till the working week before it gets activated or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and listen, Kilsing, I wonder, in your case, have you been given any assurance as to when you get the card? And then, of course, when you get the card, then you have to now go to a telco to, goodness me. Do you have any clear picture what the way forward is?
Evans, I frankly can tell you that I have no single assurance of when I am getting a car and even how I'm getting it. Just like I mentioned, I have been there on very consistent, times, and not a single assurance has been given. There was a time I interacted with one of the officers there, and he told me that he cannot predict when exactly the car to be in. And one of the reasons he gave was that they were out of stocks with the blank cards, and so even if our biometrics and everything are picked, it will be very difficult to translate or transfer those details onto the card. And that is what I find very unfortunate. Well, picking the law students, but I think she gave a very interesting analysis or angle of the whole point that there are people who feel that there are people who have gotten their cards already and have not gone to the registration points to register. And she thinks that is a concern or a reason why we have some of these restrictions and regulations. I'd like to differ on that very point because the essence of digitalization, the foremost principle of digitalization is to ensure convenience. And so for a government that thinks that people forming boring queues and losing productive hours to register for a card is the best way, raises a lot of questions about the very digitalization agenda they are pushing. So the question I ask myself is that if people can actually register with with the software or application that they have instituted, it defeats the entire purpose of picking the individual's biometrics and all of that one has to find him or herself in getting onto the queue to register. And so if government knew this right from the onset, this government has been priding itself with this whole digitalization noise, making noise about all of these so-called strides they have made. Why didn't they, first of all, initiate this application process, this app where people can just log onto the app and then register without having to bear the stress of going to form queues and etc. And so for me, I feel that government has shot itself in the foot. The entire Ghana card process it has grossly exposed government.
Yeah.
It's government
and Kilsing,
actually been defeated in this whole fight.
Yeah, but
And
Kilsing, very quickly.
I genuinely feel that at this appropriate time, it would not even make sense to uphold to the 30th September deadline that is being given. Other than that, there are more than 4 million Ghanaians who have not gotten their Ghana card yet. What becomes of them?
Okay, and Kilsing, very quickly, there is a class action and the signatures have been gathered. Have you signed on to that?
By Honorable Samjo?
By Imani.
Imani, okay. I saw something on Honorable Samjo's. I think that's quite commendable.
Have you signed on to that?
Situation. No, I'm yet to.
Okay,
because I've had a lot of restraints on the internet.
Okay, and also very quickly. So now, what do you do? How do you what do you do in the absence of your inability to make calls?
Now, all that I've had to rely on is Wi-Fi. Maybe because I can afford or I can be able to log on to an alternative internet system. Currently, if I have to make call on any, I think somebody has to rather reach me, which is quite unfortunate. So come to think of it, if I had a health emergency and I needed to reach out to a relative, health expert, or somebody close by for assistance, it means that by the time I realize, I'm gone.
Yeah. Kilson, thank you very much. A+, I'm grateful that you connected. Welcome back to the show that you have found a member of Ghana Connect. And let's see how this court suit goes at the Supreme Court, A+, and all the best in that endeavor. Kilsing obviously connecting, Andy Dusty also connecting with us. And many of you also joined us with your thoughts on social media. Let me wrap that up, and then before I hand over to my colleagues joining me with sports. Papani.
Yeah, Evans, we have quite a number of messages. This one is from Kobe in Tema. He says that, I only get to the office to be told that my Ghana card is not validated. What do I do? Kobe, that's not a question I can answer, but he goes on to say, do you know how long it took to get the Ghana card? I'm definitely signing on to the class action. I totally support it. Others here, this one says, hi Evans, my name is John, based in the USA. I registered my SIM in May 2022 and I use my MTN roaming here. I checked with the short code and it says B Corp, yes, but can't make call. Why? Well, again, that's no question I can answer. Finally, it says that, the only thing Ghanaians have made is to bring into power this particular government. How can the minister tell us this? Well, this one didn't come with a name. So, Evans, clearly, some more aggrieved individuals who are using their SIM cards and can make phone calls.
Nathaniel Atto is up next with his team of experts.